Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Dill, late Saturday night, and the fellas weren't going to miss an opportunity to talk about Bryce Underwood's debut. I'll start with this. Was it a perfect game from Michigan? No, absolutely not. Were there a lot of things you liked about this Michigan offense? Absolutely. And Dill, what I would start with is the balance between the run and the pass, about as clean as we've seen from this Michigan offense, certainly in a long time, going back to 2024. Bryce Underwood's arm talent, it's different. We know we knew it was different. We certainly saw that on display. Dill, I think there probably could be a conversation that we can get into in terms of, does he need to throw the fastball as much as he does? But when this kid wants to rip it, there are not many quarterbacks across the country that have the talent that Bryce does. Now, the other interesting conversation is, didn't really see Bryce Underwood use his legs at all. Now, number one, I thought the ball was getting out quick. Thought he was managing the pocket really well. Dill, you don't see a lot of freshmen stand in the pocket like Bryce did, which I think's a positive takeaway. I look towards that week 2 matchup in Norman and say I feel like we'll see Bryce Underwood's legs get utilized a little bit more. I just don't know if you want Bryce Underwood taking hits when you're playing a team like New Mexico. That's probably my initial reaction to what we saw. A lot of different storylines to get into. Dill, I thought some freshmen flashed outside of just Bryce Underwood as well. Before we get into it, as always, to the Michigan fans, hey, number one, as Michigan fans ourselves, we've had a blast talking this football team over the last couple of months. The amount of support the Michigan fans have shown the boys has been amazing. Appreciate you guys. If y'all are listening to this at midnight, appreciate it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. More importantly than that, would love to hear how the Michigan fans are feeling about what we saw from Bryce and this Chip Lindsey offense. Dill, I'm gonna give you the tee box here. Let's start with Bryce. What was your biggest takeaway from what we saw from Bryce Underwood tonight?
Yeah, and it's really not the arm talent. I know you kind of got into it. I think that was obvious. We all knew he had that. He wouldn't have come out of high school with the accolades he kind of had in the recruiting rankings and all that stuff. I think what I did think was pretty impressive was the timing and the rhythm he had with those top three receivers, and obviously Marlon Klein as well. Especially with Don McCulley, some of those throws to the boundary, on a 2nd and 9 or a 3rd and 9, to be able to kind of make that play and have that be part of the repertoire, let's say. I think that's a really important step for the Michigan offense.
Can I say one other thing about the timing? It's also in terms of giving your wide receivers more opportunity to work with the football. I mean, not to have Cade McNamara take a stray from us on a late Saturday night, but go back to 2021. Cade McNamara, when he's throwing to the boundary, it really did take the football a long time to get to your boundary receivers. And by the time the ball got, even if it was accurately placed, there's not a lot of time for our wide receivers to do much with the football after the catch. When Bryce Underwood attacks the boundary, these wide receivers will continue to have a lot of opportunity to get after it after the catch. That was one of my takeaways.
And not just the boundary. I mean, throwing into zones through the middle of the field on that deep post to Channing Goodwin, or that play to Kendrick Bell.
Can we talk about that deep post?
Giving their chances to make plays after the catch, and they turned 20-yard plays into 40-yard, 50-yard kind of play.
Can we talk about that post to Channing Goodwin? It was 3rd and 9, though. That was maybe one of the times where the game was never, at least from my perspective, it was never truly dicey, but there was
on the verge of getting dicey.
Yeah, 2-minute warning, right? And number one, the confidence that Chip Lindsey had in Bryce Underwood to throw the football in that spot, that's number one. But number two, I mean, that's such a big time throw. And so if you have any question marks about this kid making it happen when the moment's the brightest, I don't think you have a ton of question marks leaving that game. I do want to ask you about this. You did see Bryce to Marlon Klein on that little wheel route, throw with some really nice touch. Do you think that there are times where maybe we can dial it back a little bit more in terms of the fastball, especially work in the middle? That's just I'm far from a quarterback coach, so I'm just kind of putting that out to you. How do you feel about that conversation there?
Yeah, I'm sure, because I think really what it doesn't give him a ton of room for error. I mean, if he's not throwing a perfect ball, it's really hard to catch when he's throwing with the pace he does. So there probably is that element. And again, I feel like JJ had that at times early in his career too. I don't think it's particularly unique to Bryce. So I imagine that'll be something they'll try to do and have him dial it in when he needs to and when he's got to rip it.
And look, there is times where you have to rip it. There were a couple times where you have to rip it. And there's not many quarterbacks that can rip it like Bryce. Still, the velocity that he throws the football with is absolutely insane. What did you think about Chip Lindsey? What did you think about the Chip Lindsey offense?
I mean, I think you're talking like it's fun to see the ball going down the field a little bit. I did think he came up with some creative wrinkles. I mean, I think naturally just again, I think a lot of it emanates from the fact that he now has a quarterback and some wide receivers who I think, again, we probably should get to them. I thought they were making some plays a little bit. So I think the fact that you have that baseline of a quarterback who can do whatever you want allows Chip Lindsey to do a lot. And I did think it probably wasn't the most aggressively called game in the history of football. I think Michigan will be more aggressive at times, especially using Bryce Underwood's legs. But I do think you saw some nice wrinkles that
a lot of easy answers, though, was my takeaway. Like the Bryce Underwood did not have to solve world hunger back there, which is what you want when you have a freshman quarterback. And I thought you saw Bryce stay in the pocket and go through some processing at times. He didn't totally need to, which is a sign of a good offensive coordinator, man. Making your quarterback's life easier, especially when you're dealing with the freshman quarterback's important. Not that Chip Lindsey, I thought he did that. Let's talk a little bit about the wide receivers. I think what my biggest takeaway is, one, Marlon Klein is legit. I think he has the opportunity to be one of the best tight ends in the country. And it's very clear to me that Michigan plans on, I don't know if it's the best terminology to build their passing attack around Marlon Klein, but it's very, very apparent that Marlon Klein is going to play a massive part in this Michigan offense. And for all the offseason conversation regarding are we good enough at wide receiver, I think we have a legit tight end here in Marlon Klein.
Yeah, Marlon Klein was good. He was good in the red zone. I thought Bryce, I mean, some of those throws Bryce made to him, especially that one, I feel like when they were backed up in their own zone, that's just an unbelievable throw. And that's just like a different level of gamer, I'd say, in terms of what Bryce can do. But those are some big, big plays for Marlon Klein. In the red zone is probably the big area, especially until we kind of know what maybe a Donovan McCulley is fully and how good he can be and how good he's going to be in terms of using that size to be a weapon in that red area.
I agree. And I think we probably kind of describe Donovan McCulley as this exclusive deep threat. I think him coming back to the football is very effective too. Boxing out that's a big body, and he had a couple big body imposing catches. Samaj Morgan's another guy that is going to thrive, Dill, in this Chip Lindsey offense. I mean, with his ability to create ways to get the football to his players in space, I think Samaj Morgan is going to be great. He is so dynamic after the catch. So those are my two big takeaways. Love Marlon Klein. Love what we saw. It's very clear Bryce Underwood likes to go to Marlon Klein, and we're going to scheme it up for Samaj Morgan. Give him a lot of opportunities. Last one, Andrew Marsh, probably not the best football game from the freshman. It's clear they like him. They're playing him, allowing him to kick return too. Probably just some maturing that needs to happen with Andrew Marsh as a football player. I think we figured out, and look, is it fair to say we figured out who our running back one is after week 1 against New Mexico? Probably not, but Justice Haynes was out there more times than not. He was out there on the first drive for Michigan. And Dill, I thought it was pretty dang clear that what I love most about Justice Haynes is, yes, he can bang bodies between the tackles, but when he has the opportunity to punch on it and go hit a home run, he can do that too. I've been a fan of Justice Haynes ever since he was a high school kid coming out of Buford when he committed to Bama. I think he's a guy that probably leads the team in rushing yards this year.
And that's still probably where you'd probably like to see it be a little bit cleaner was the rushing attack. I felt like there were probably more plays where they didn't get plus 3 yards, and that's probably what you're looking for. So that's probably, again, what I'll be kind of clued in on for this Oklahoma game. And I think part of that, again, you get Bryce more involved and you make him more of a threat. I certainly think that would benefit that rushing attack.
Yeah.
But that's probably what I'm be looking for. And they hit those big explosives. It was pretty good. I'm trying to get up here and to be too gloomy on the run game, but I would like to see a little bit more position from the offensive line.
I'll have to. I probably that's probably got to be a rewatch conversation. because we didn't take a ton of, and that's another. I mean, kind of we're working through this depth chart here, Dill. The offensive line, especially in pass pro, was nails, man. Like Bryce Underwood on that fourth down late in the fourth quarter, I believe Bryce took a sack, and that was just because the wasn't really there and he didn't throw it away. Outside of that, I don't think Bryce Underwood was touched. Right? Was he hurried? Was he touched? Was he rushed on anything? Like it wasn't was given pretty dang clean pockets, and I'll even say this still. When Blake Frazier came in and played a decent amount of the fourth quarter, like Blake Frazier played well too. I think we got 3 tackles that we like a lot. I'll go back and watch in the run game, but I thought the offensive line was quite good in pass. But I'll say this: no, Brady Norton got the start. Thought Nate Afobe was damn solid as well. Let's go to the defense side of the football real quick. The one disappointing thing, and let's just get it out of the way, is Jayshon Barham with targeting. I hope Michigan peels it.
I'm so interested to see what Sherrone Moore says about that and kind of how they fight that over the week. Because again, like I feel like we've seen these be appealed. I'm just looking at Twitter, like the broad consensus is everybody thinks it's ridiculous. It's also the only big game on in week 2. So I am very interested to see, but I will say that'll probably get a little bit overblown because I do think like linebacker is one position where it's really deep. You obviously saw Cole Sullivan play really well. You saw Troy Bowles come in and play really well.
I mean, we know Jimmy Rolder can play.
So it's like Michigan, I feel like, has the bodies to make up for that. But Jayshon Barham was playing good today. I thought they were using him a little bit more creatively. So I'm excited to see kind of how they get him a little more engaged in the game over the course of the year.
That was a big takeaway. Arguably the biggest takeaway that I had was I thought, I mean, Jayshon Barham coming off the edge is a problem, man. That was the play.
Takeaway. I think it's Etta. Etta, I thought, was playing well. And Etta's a guy I think we've all been kind of waiting to break through. This was the first game where I saw sustained, really disruptive, being physical, moving guys around. He played a really good game.
And it was consistent, Dill. Right? That's always been the problem with Eno is like he'll flash a little bit, and then sometimes it's not good enough. The consistency wasn't there year 2. Year 3, you felt it a little bit more. TJ Guy and Derek Moore were very, very good in this game. And I'll give that New Mexico kid credit at quarterback. He was standing in there and making some big-time throws, and he was taking an absolute beating. Michigan and New Mexico was going to the quick game a decent amount. I think they knew we probably ain't blocking Demo and TJ Guy all that consistently, so we're going to lean into the quick game. And, I thought the quarterback made some solid throws. Dominic Nichols played well. Cam Brand played well. My biggest takeaway is Nate Marshall. This kid's going to play for us early. I mean, is he going to be on the field a ton in first and second rundowns? I don't know. There is a ton of juice with this kid coming off the edge. And are they going to trot him out against Oklahoma? I'm not sure. Going to October, November, he's going to play. He's going to play a big role, I think, for this Michigan defense over the course of the year.
Yeah, I think he's going to play. It wouldn't stun me at all to see him play against Oklahoma because there is something, especially when you're like trying to get creative with your stunts, like his ability, his explosiveness, his athleticism. I think there's ways they can use that early in his career. Right now, I thought his play strength was a little better than I maybe thought it was going to be.
100%.
The one rep, I felt like he did it stood the tackle up, made a play in the run, like. Not that that's going to be his bread and butter year 1, but I do think maybe he's further along than some of us maybe thought earlier in the year.
I thought we got the answer, and this is kind of my last takeaway. And again, we'll circle back. I thought we got a very good feel what the secondary is going to look like, right? Brandon Hillman, Mason Curtis at safety, TJ Metcalf at nickel, and there'll be a little bit of interchange, but I thought that was pretty clear what Michigan was going with. And Dill, thought Brandon Hillman was really good, man. And he flies around the football field. He makes a lot of plays. The score doesn't necessarily – I mean, Michigan averaged 7.2 yards per play, and New Mexico averaged 3.5. The scoreboard might not reflect it, but Dill, I'm coming away much more optimistic about this Michigan team than last year when we played Fresno State. Fresno State, we might have won by 2 scores against a quality Fresno State team. That I thought it looked a lot better from Michigan than what we saw on the score.
And my last back with some moxie and some you feel confident. When he had the ball with that 2-minute warning, I was
yeah, sure.
But early on in that drive, I'm oh, we're gonna go take this down and score. He's ripping it. He's confident. He's standing in there. That's fundamentally different from what we had last year. So obviously, that's we're miles apart there. And I do feel. and his general energy and his aura. Not to like use that term. I feel like it's getting a little played out, but like he's kind of got it.
Yeah, 100%. He's got it. I guess it is like a little bit of a pie where it's like we're Michigan got a 14-0, like snap your fingers, and this might be like 45-3 type game, and I think it could have been. A lot of realities, I think that is maybe what the score would have been. It's nice to like it to me. It's nice to see. Like, all right, it got a little bit hairy, right? And hairy is maybe a little bit too aggressive a word, but when it did, like, his team didn't flinch, and that's important. All right, we'll cut it there. Wanted to hop on late night and talk a little bit about what we saw. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. Let it fly in the comment section too. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We'll talk to y'all later.